CNN debate, night 2, my Splicetoday column and some commentary. I think we should suffer fools gladly because they are very amusing. All right? And actually, I kind of think that Democrats and liberals should stop congratulating themselves on their superior intelligence until they can generate maybe presidential candidates that can manifest superior intelligence or rudimentary intelligence, really. So, second night of the debate, starring Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Bill de Blasio, and my candidate, I guess. I'm not really going to vote Democrat, I guess, probably, but, well, yeah, I probably am, because I really think Trump needs to be stopped. But Tulsi Gabbard, I think. That's who I liked. So really, this column is just kind of ridiculing a bunch of these people in virtue of their own words. I'm sorry if I sound like a brat. But man, the way they mangle the language just irritates me, all right? So, Splicetoday column, a bunch of malarkey, CNN debate, night 2. Tulsi Gabbard, the peacenik warrior woman in white, won the debate. That, however, is not saying much. For anyone with clear positions on anything, or able to utter a grammatical sentence, would have won that sucker. Well, de Blasio made sense in his grating way. Castro seemed some sort of listless and mechanical, but he managed not to say the opposite of what he meant, which immediately puts him in the upper tier. These debates have had problems, from the number of candidates to the solemn stomping of the color guard. But the most basic problem is just the way the candidates talk. Perhaps you came into the debates wanting really to be inspired, almost transported. Perhaps, like Frank Bruni, you wanted to be moved, reminded of what it really means to be an American, which makes me yawn or snicker, depending on my energy level. And you wanted to be shown how we could be rescued from Donald Trump. Then, in the course of last night's conflagration, your standards started to sink. By the end, you'd settle for someone who could make sense for a few seconds at a time, no matter what they said. Of a white boy walking down the street in a hoodie, a key demographic in this election, Kirsten Gillibrand said, quote, "His whiteness is what protects him from not being shot." Which is certainly very disturbing on a number of levels. In announcing her candidacy back in January, Gillibrand said, quote, "President Trump has chosen to tear this country apart against all racial lines, all religious lines, every division, every line you can find." It's taken her all these months, but she managed to get through those same sentences or same bits in her closing statement last night without saying just the opposite of what one hopes she meant. Fucking up double negatives and stuff is Kirsten's brand. They have fat in the system that's real, she pointed out. They have fat in the system that's real, and it should be going to health care. So let's not lose the forest for the trees. Harris speaks the language a bit better than Gillibrand, though her extreme definiteness about the nature of her own positions, expressed in bits like, "Unfortunately, Vice President Biden, you're just simply inaccurate in what you're describing," or "that is simply false." Okay, those moments of apparent clarity are immediately followed by a series of equivocations along these lines. I listened to American families. I listened to American families who said, I want an option that will be under your Medicare system that allows a private plan. So I designed a plan where, yes, responsive to the needs of American families, there will be a public plan under my plan for Medicare and a private plan under my plan for Medicare. Later, she assured us that, quote, my plan does not offer anything that is illegal, which strikes me as a fairly low bar. Still, I'm looking for a plan that provides hallucinogens and sexual services, okay? You know, stress relief, right? You know, a healthcare system rather than a sickness care system. Biden, it's fair to say, I mean, I hate to keep doing this to Joe, but if he's going to keep talking, I'm going to keep quoting him. Just has no idea about healthcare. Last time he threatened to throw insurance company executives into jail for getting America hooked on opiates, and he repeated that last night. Number two, that's the way he starts most sentences. We should put some of these insurance executives who totally oppose my plan in jail for of the $9 billion of opioids they sell out there. I think he means pharmaceutical executives, and that he doesn't mean that they should be jailed for opposing his plan. But that would presuppose that there is something that Joe Biden means when he talks, which is merely hypothetical. My plan makes a limit of copay to be $1,000 because we further support the ability to buy into the Obamacare plan. Okay, first of all, the word because is just randomly thrown in there between two unrelated items. And second of all, I think he means deductibles, not copays. But all we can do is wonder about that. And then he added, and second, the idea that this is somehow a bad idea. Full stop. Second, the idea that this is somehow a bad idea. Now, there's a good response, a good refutation of the attacks upon you. Biden likes to say that he has three reasons for anything, and then he produces two completely unrelated items. Never a third. Would he deport on an Obama-type scale? Absolutely not, number one. Absolutely not, number one. Number two, everything landed on the president's desk but locusts. Or try this on for size. Number two, the fact is that my plan also calls for controlling drug prices. The biopharma is now where things are going to go. It's no longer chemicals. It's about all these breakthroughs that we have with the whole, immune system. Now, if you're an idiot, it's not your fault. It's a pre-existing condition. And with Booker, I strongly believe that we must overcome anti-idiot bigotry in our society, which is the very meaning of who we are as Americans, or some shit. People no more choose their intelligence level than their sexual identity. Born this way, man. It's who they are, how God made them. That doesn't require us to vote cretin, though. Booker pointed out that, quote, we spend more than every other nation on everything from MRIs to insulin drugs. Multiple mores than other countries. Multiple more than other countries. Which is very demoralizing indeed, coming from a Rhodes Scholar. He used demoralizing in the next sentence. Booker might have had the best moment, though, responding to Biden on immigration. And the second thing, that this really irks me, because I heard the vice president say that if you get a PhD, you can come right into this country. And that's exactly what Biden did say. Well, that's playing into what the Republicans want, to pit some immigrants against other immigrants. Some are from shithole countries, and some are from worthy countries. We need to reform this whole immigration system and begin to be the country that says everyone has worth and dignity, and that this should be a country that honors for everyone. But then he tried to nail it. And this, Booker, and this is one of those instances where the house was set on fire and you claimed responsibility for those laws. And you can't just now come out with a plan to put out that fire. You know, almost Gillibrand level mixed metaphors and stuff. And why can't he come up with a plan to put out the fire that he started? But has he? Has Biden put out a plan? He doesn't know, really. No one does, as Biden put it. And so, I look anyway. That's what I think my plan. I know what my plan does. Booker has gathered accolades for the following observation. There's a saying in my community, you're dipping into the Kool-Aid and you don't even know the flavor. Now, is that really a piece of traditional African-American folk wisdom? And how does it apply? And why shouldn't I dip into a random flavor of Kool-Aid? We got applause for that and laughter. Okay, I don't know. I guess it's something. While we're fact-checking, I'd like to check Biden's claim that he opposed the Iraq war totally, immediately after having voted for it. But even if he did, the whole thing doesn't seem to recommend him. And as I recall, he was equivocal about it for year after year. While we're fact-checking, like John Kerry, for instance, or Hillary Clinton, to get through last night's debate, you had to assume that the people who want to run this sucker and tell you the very meaning of America itself, pseudo-passionately, must mean something by such coinages as expulcate, that was Biden, or antediluvial, which was Inslee. Perhaps the reason that they just kept muttering Republican talking points at each other is because the phrase consists of 3 words strung together in a manner which is undeniably grammatical. So if you say it over and over again, as long as you do say it and nothing else, you're not making any grammatical mistakes, or you're probably not saying just the opposite of what you mean. If indeed there is anything you mean. It helps the candidate's confidence and reassures the voters that the candidate is ready for the presidency. Well, I could go on from there, just reading the transcript and cutting and pasting the ridiculous crap from it. But instead, I'm just going to go online and contribute $10 to Tulsi Gabbard, which I did. It's been fun. Really, I'm enjoying all this punditizing, even if I'm just not getting the hundreds of thousands of hits that I so richly deserve. Have a good one.